Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Host Eddie Frederick.
So glad you can join us. Trinidad and Tobago's police service is reported to be in good hands. This story takes the lead in today's edition of Caribbean Perspective for Monday, 19th December 2022. Details when we return.
Win prizes weekly with the Dutch Lady Christmas promotion. You can win hampers, kitchen appliances, and much more. Here's how to win. Visit our Facebook and Instagram pages weekly to retrieve the recipe. Follow the recipe. Submit the final dish via email at dlchristmaspromotion@gmail.com, along with proof of purchase of Dutch Lady UHT or 410 evaporated milk. Recipes will be judged based on the display. Winners will be selected each week to battle for the grand prize in a live cooking show hosted by the creative chef. Look out for the Dutch Lady Santa Claus at supermarkets island-wide. The promotion runs from November 16th to December 21st, 2022. And once again, we'd like to congratulate the winner of last year's Dutch Lady Christmas promotion, Miss Brianna Bihari. Dutch Lady Milk, proudly distributed by Hubbard's Agency.
Welcome back. Trinidad and Tobago's newly appointed Acting Commissioner of Police, Earl Christopher, is assuring citizens that the police service is in good hands, following MacDonald Jacob proceeding on vacation leave last week. However, pressed by TV6 to confirm whether she too will soon be proceeding on leave, Commissioner Christopher said she will advise at a later date. TV6's Ranissa Cutting has more.
Today marks 1 week since Earl Christopher was appointed to act as Commissioner of Police. She was asked by the media to describe her first week in office.
Interesting.
As the most senior eligible author after Jacob, Mrs. Christopher was automatically selected to act in the position. However, TV6 has been reliably informed that she too is due to proceed on leave early next year.
Are all trying to figure out what is to become of the leadership of the TTPS.
I want to assure you that the TTPS leadership will always be intact.
Are you set to proceed on leave early in 2023?
The Human Resource Branch is in the process of calculating my vacation leave eligibility, so I'll be able to advise at a future date.
She has assumed office at a time when this country's murder toll is at a record high.
It is not an impossible task. Okay? And we are sure that as a leadership team, we will continue to implement strategies that will mitigate against that. So let's wait and see.
She has been a member of the police service for 40 years.
I know what women bring to general life. I know the important role we play. So it is not daunting. The position is not daunting. As a matter of fact, I think probably it's the right time to have that female leadership.
The top cop is calling on the public to assist the police in arresting crime. She issues this appeal to women.
We can influence all those young men who are hired as shooters, all these young men who display a disrespect for life. It is important because I know within the national community, we are focusing on the fact that we would reach 600 murders. But we, and I'm continually saying we, as women, we have that, and I will say, not just ability, but we have that authority to influence.
A total of 576 homicides have been recorded to date. Vanessa Cutting, TV6 News.
The government of Trinidad and Tobago is told there is considerable room for improvement in the way the economy is being handled. The statement comes from Professor Roger Hossain as he weighed in on the Central Bank Monetary Policy Report. TV6's Nicole M. Romani has that story.
With food inflation reaching 11.6% as stated in the latest central bank report, economist Professor Roger Hossain says consumers will be further impacted.
If you have a situation in which income is stagnant or only increasing by 4%, and you have food prices increasing and increasing and increasing by the numbers that we saw in the monetary policy report, then it basically means households are getting poorer in terms of what money can buy.
He is very concerned about what he sees as a lack of focus on agriculture. And while noting that there has been some economic growth, he says the focus is in the wrong direction.
We need to be looking at areas to generate non-energy foreign exchange for Trinidad and Tobago. And that's where the TTMA comes in, I think. The TTMA has been doing a very good job. We now need to bring aspects of agriculture and aspects of services more on board with generating foreign exchange. And a lot of work needs to be done there. And once you look at the review of the economy data, you would see that whilst we have opened the economy up and we are getting economic growth and we are seeing some improvement, the economic growth is coming more from non-tradable type of economic activities rather than non-energy tradable activities.
Professor Hossain is recommending cutbacks in some areas to give the local economy a fighting chance.
Too much of Trinidad and Tobago economy budgetary expenditure goes towards transfers and subsidies, in my understanding of the facts, as compared to capital injections. And if we could trim off from transfers and subsidies, say, of $4 billion and bring it down from about 29, 30 billion to about 25, 26 billion and add that on to capital injections so we could fix the infrastructural base of the economy and therefore widen productive capacity some more, I think that would give Trinidad and Tobago economy a better fighting chance of getting long-term sustainable growth.
He says Trinidad and Tobago is in a bad situation, and he's not happy with the way the economy is going. Nicole M. Romani, TV6 News.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick.
Over in St. Kitts and Nevis, the Premier of Nevis, Mark Brantley, and his Concerned Citizens Movement, CCM, having won last week Monday's election in Nevis and sworn in as Premier, is strongly advised to do some introspection. Andre Huey of SKN Newsline reports on the post-elections views of Peter Wickham, political strategist who is widely believed to be a push pollster in the region.
Mark Brantley is in a very uncomfortable position now, in my view. The fair share and certainly the role that he played in the breakup of team unity was a gamble. And I think it was a gamble which we can argue has largely not paid off, because the Nevisian government certainly, in terms of at the local level, was in the strongest position that had ever been historically, where they had members, 4 of them, within the federal government. And there was a level of cooperation that had not been seen before. Premier Brantley was part of the team that broke that up and has delivered something, in my view, which is significantly less beneficial to the people of Nevis thus far. Now, I don't know what the negotiations will reveal going down the road, but certainly the relationship at the federal level is not one that suggests that the decisions that have been taken have been prudent. At the local level, I think that the question is looking at how people are reacting to you locally. My feeling is that he has enough people close to him that can give him a clue as to what the challenges were on the ground in the various areas as they move around. You know, perceptions of people not being given equal opportunity to share resources, perceptions of arrogance. I think that these are things that are relatively easy to fix if you have people who will be honest and tell you, look, this is where you went wrong. As for the overseas vote, that will continue to be an issue. The CCM has taken a position that they will support it and continue so to do. And I guess that is something that Nevis will have to live with, and St. Kitts will have to live with, because you have in control of the local government in Nevis and also in control of the federal government in St. Kitts, two political entities that are committed to maintaining that role. So that's something that has to be monitored, observed, and I think that the competitors will have to work within that framework if they want to gain office in the country.
Mr. Brantley, shortly after the initial results were announced, suggested that the CCM would need to do an analysis of the election results.
And at the end of the day, we will have to evaluate these results, seek to determine why they were what they are, but notwithstanding, we're grateful to God that we have a result and that we can now settle down.
The CCM, which previously held 4 of the 5 Nevis Island Assembly seats, won only 3 seats this time around, losing the St. James's constituency seat, previously held by former Deputy Premier Alexis Jeffers. The opposition Nevis Reformation Party now holds 2 seats, the St. Thomas's constituency, which is represented by Cleone Stapleton Simmons, and St. James's constituency now held by New Time representative Dr. Janice Daniel Hodge, the leader of the Nevis Reformation Party. I'm Andre Huey for SKN Newsline.
Jamaica currently has external debt which will mature in the next 2 years, which is the end of 2024-2025, to the tune of $1 billion, with the reality that the debt could attract interest rates higher than currently being experienced. Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark looked to the IMF. A staff-level agreement has been reached for access to funds through the new Resilience and Sustainability Facility, RSF.
That would allow Jamaica to access up to $763 million at an interest rate of approximately 3.8% and a repayment period of 20 years, with no principal repayment for the first 10 years.
Dr. Clark says signing on to the facility will lead to fiscal prudence.
Access would not only support our climate resilience building strategy, but also potentially save Jamaica approximately $35 million per year over 20 years in interest costs, as against accessing financing in capital markets using our current average blended market borrowing costs as a comparison, even before we consider that market interest rates may rise further.
A staff-level agreement has also been reached for a $967 million facility through the Precautionary and Liquidity Line.
Precautionary Liquidity Line is an instrument of the International Monetary Fund for countries with strong economic fundamentals. And Jamaica's qualification for this credit line is a signal of our economic strength and stability. These arrangements will not interfere with our already planned programs and activities. It is and will be business as usual, with the additional ability to access financing if the global outlook worsens.
The IMF board will consider approval of these requests early next year. Dr. Clark says while local foreign exchange reserves remain robust at more than $4 billion, access to these facilities will give Jamaica good fiscal leverage. The Jamaican authorities and a team from the IMF met from December 5 to 15 to consider access to these programs and carry out the 2022 A4 consultation. This also showed that Jamaica is doing well from a fiscal standpoint. The IMF says the authorities continue to improve their policy frameworks, and the reforms to the public sector rate structure and other initiatives will aid the fixing of some shortcomings. Javon Keys, TVJ News.
The Food Fair Shop and Win promotion is back, better than ever. We are giving away $30,000 in prizes with promotional activities you know and love, like find the misplaced items, spin the wheel, and other exciting in-store activities. You can win hams, turkeys, vouchers, cooking gas from Sol, and lunch packages from the Creative Chef. The promotion runs from November 16th to December 23rd, 2022. Food Fair, where you can fill your baskets without emptying your pockets.
I am Eddie Frederick. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean. In the meantime, please continue to log on to CaribbeanPerspective.com for more daily news and more.